So now moving to our next submitter, Richard Peebles, representing the Peebles Group and Riverside Market. Richard, good to have you with us. Welcome to the table.
Morning or afternoon, actually, now.
Afternoon it is now.
I'm Richard Peebles. Thanks for the opportunity of talking. I hope you all survived the bubble and enjoyed your lockdown. Very impressive facial hair you got there, James, I've got to say. Despite my ruffled appearance, and I haven't had time for a haircut, but I'm actually quite old, and I've been through quite a few sort of recessions. I was working in real estate during the 87 share market crash, and obviously the GFC, and obviously the earthquakes, and now we've had the shooting, and now we've got the pandemic. And I don't want to be Chicken Little, but I am going to be. We're in the eye of the storm. You know, we've gone through the pandemic and we've done really well, but we've now got some incredible, difficult economic hard winds ahead. You know, we've had come out of the bubble. We had some pent up demand. People have gone out and they've spent some money, but we've actually now got economic Armageddon coming, and I don't think everyone appreciates just what is on the horizon. Now, initially, I thought after the lockdown that we were going to have a quick recovery. You know, we were the best looking person at the dance. We could have pick and choose our bubble partner, our overseas bubble partner, Australasia, Hong Kong, China. We could have pick and choose who we wanted. That opportunity is now effectively gone, I believe. So what I thought was going to be a deep and hard but relatively short economic downturn is going to be much longer. You know, we're going to have a tsunami of job losses. I don't think, you know, we're going to go from 4% to 15, 20, some of the worst guesses are like 25%. You know, before the pandemic, we had 5 million visitors a year, 41 billion was spent in the tourism industry, 230,000 jobs. You know, that isn't going to recover anytime soon. I spend all my days and this morning meeting with tenants and negotiating rent reductions, end of leases. You know, that's all I'm doing at the moment. You know, I feel like I'm a hamster on the wheel. We're running like hell. We're getting nowhere. You know, when I got back out of the bubble, I went to my staff and I said, our goal is to keep all our tenants. You know, tenants, this is where it's all at. We've got to keep your tenants. You've got to look after them because they're going to be hard to get. So you're going to make sure you retain them, you do what it takes. Even if you let them in there and they pay no rent, you've got to keep your tenants. So that's to keep the businesses and keep the people employed. And the council's response is to increase rates. Now I know my good friend Duncan Webb suggested we should increase rates further. You know, I love Duncan, he's a great guy, but he must live in some sort of bubble. Who has the ability to pay? Who is going to have the ability to pay? You know, we have a rates differential, so the businesses carry a disproportionate level of the rates anyway, and because of the way it's all worked out, so the rates increase for commercial tenants is greater than residential. So the burden is further on businesses, and they're hanging on by the skin of their teeth. Now, I'm not advocating a rates reduction. I think that's impossible. But what I am suggesting is that the council appears to have just rearranged the deck chairs. No one's gone back and looked at every contract, every supplier, and said, what is your post-COVID price? That should be 101. That is 101 for every business. And the fact is, we're doing this every day, and no one is, apart from the council, no one is turning us away and saying we won't renegotiate. In fact, the suppliers, the contractors, they're very, very grateful that we're going to continue to spend and give them work. So we're doing up some shops in the Guthrie at the moment, just to give you some idea. So we would polish concrete floors, $60 a square metre pre-COVID. It's $48 now. The electrician doing the lights, we were spending $8,000 on the spotlights in this average shop. He's doing it for $3,800. You know, we're achieving these, and these guys are happily doing it. We're not forcing them. We're just saying, what is your post-COVID price? And we're getting these cuts on everything. So what I'm talking about is the quality of the spend and getting more for less rather than just spend the money. Quality of the spend, more for less. That should be our mantra. The staff should be told back and send a letter to every supplier, from your guys doing your pot plants, to your coffee beans, to your biscuits, up to building the new stadium. What is your post-COVID price? I get rung every day by engineers, architects, electricians, plumbers asking for work. I can tell you it's never going to be cheaper to build that multi-use arena than now. You know, we are in the middle of the, you know, I think it's probably going to be the worst recession that we've ever had, and the bungles at the border that we've had recently is just going to make that worse. I mean, I was hopeful that would be our saviour, but it's not going to be, and we're in trouble. So we need to batten down the hatches, and I'm not suggesting we don't spend. I think we need to spend on the capital projects, but we need to be demanding more for less. So we should build all of the capital projects, but do it at a cheaper price and do it within the budget you've got. People do not have the ability to pay extra rates. So that's really my message: quality to spend and more for less. Now, if anyone ever wants to sit down with me, I can run you through what's happening with we have 200 tenants around the city, and I can give you a rundown. You know, just quickly, in one development of 10 tenants, we've got 2 that are paying full rent, 4 that are paying nothing, and the rest are paying a proportion. So we're somewhere between 60 and 70% down on income. And so, I'm not alone.
So thank you very much indeed for sharing that information with us. And you painted a particular picture, and it's one that clearly we need to be aware of and we need to be listening to. So thank you very much indeed for taking the time to come along and do that this morning.
Thank you.
Or this afternoon, actually, as it now is. Thank you very much. Thank you.